Yeah.
When the lightning crack the waters and the waves roll and break in the ocean, like a never-ending symphony. Oh yeah, one people live in motion, constant emotion. From the shores of the motherland, journey through an ocean, blood and oil, turmoil and sorrow. Slava de baby, bum bum, yeah. Still some try to deny the past, prefer to play a mass, but then can't hold on tomorrow. So dry your tears of sorrow, 'cause here and now, people, you're free as the wind. You're the earth, you're the fire, the fire. You're the song that I sing.
Hear the songs that I sing. Here now. Boy. We start off with the boss, Andre Tanker, inside this episode of I Belong to the House of Music, featuring Belmont man, a Juve man, proper Bajan, stick fighter, original Rapso man, everything Ararian. Wendell Manwarren, thank you so much for joining us inside the Wajan discotheque,
bless you.
inside the House of Music. So a little bit about House of Music. This series takes its name from the songbook of the great Winston Bailey, The Shadow. And in this series, we talk with people who are makers and doers and everything else about their creative process, about their life through 7 songs of Trinidad and Tobago. And so the first song that we heard today was Andre Tanker, Here and Now. Wendell.
Tilla.
Wait.
Tilla willa. Wow. Here and now.
Here and Now.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to be here in Belmont, which I consider, my home, even though I live in Woodbrook way longer than I've ever lived in Belmont.
Yeah.
And, in the intro just now you mentioned stick fighter, and I only learned later on in life that the street I grew up on was named after Myla, champion stick fighter.
Wow.
So I grew up on the corner of Pelham and Myla Street. And I knew Pelham was English.
Yeah.
Something to do with English. So I figured Myla was some English guy as well.
Yeah.
But to discover that Myla was champion stick
Wow.
fighter. They had the maribone, the dreaded maribone. You didn't want nothing with them. So, it's good to be here now.
Yeah.
With that knowledge
Yeah.
in this time.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about a Belmont childhood. What that was like. I mean, and it would have been in the heat and the height of Belmont's,
It was the
creative.
70s. It was the late 60s into the early 70s. It was just such a vibrant, alive, bristling, multicultural, all kind of different levels of people, different strata of people.
Yeah.
Close together, cheek by jowl. And I think the thing that I remember most about Belmont, my impression of Belmont, was at Carnival time. In Dragon where, Earl says the hill comes alive at
Yes.
Carnival time. But in Carnival time, Belmont certainly was a cauldron
Yeah.
of activity.
Yeah.
Everything from mass to pan to, they didn't have so much calypso, but definitely mass and pan were huge in the community. And because it was close to home, my mother played pan, my father played pan. The family had a pan side in the yard on Lockhart Lane, them boys.
Right.
Them fortunates, I always grew up hearing about them boys.
Yeah.
My father played King of the Band for Sally, Harold Saldina from Chenatali. My mother played with Pandemonium and then later went on to play with Peter Minshall. And that's when I turned my lenses in the direction of Peter Minshall. So when Belmont Boys RC, did my first communion in St. Francis Church right next door, and from there I passed for St. Mary's. So Belmont is my grounding. I always say, Belmont give me my sense of self, my sense of community, my sense of, belonging to a bigger cultural ecosystem than I could ever have imagined.
Yeah. Wow. When was the first time you played Mass?
Ooh. The first time I played Mass was, I was about 9 years old. In my mind, at least, I was about 9 years old. It was myself, my cousin Kurt, and my cousin Nigel. And the way our family was set up, my mom had me, then my auntie Grace had Kurt, and then my auntie Bunny had Nigel, and they were all around the same time. So we grew up as a batch of cousins. And then the next batch, my sister and the other cousins, they grew up as a batch. So I was kind of closer to them.
Right.
They were just, we were just family, cousins, everybody lived in the same house. Anyway, I had Uncle Cletus, and he used to play Juve, real serious and hardcore. And he was like the most committed to making Mass, even after all the rest of my family stopped playing Mass. So Uncle Cletus used to be making Mass down to the end. He's kind of eased off now.
Yeah.
But he took us to play in Oaksville back in the day, and Oaksville band in those days was like seriously hardcore. And there was a guy named Jacka who lived high up the street on Pelham Street, and he was the mechanic, like the community mechanic. And Jacka was building a chariot. I remember that. He was building a chariot in his mechanic yard just up the street. I remember a day we were all taken up and we had to kind of like pull the chariot, and not realizing we were being tested out as chariot pullers for Jacka on Juve morning. And Juve morning come and we were, rafted up, three of us, and it seemed to be a secret because later on I discovered our mothers didn't know, collective mothers didn't know. Wrap up in Croker's bag, taken down to Dark Eye Lane, which was not too far away, in that hour of the morning, in the coldness, in the blackness, in the, and people looking all how, and then we were doused in mud, and then we realized we really were the designated chariot pullers along with some other little fellas from the area. And in my mind, we reached down as far as Independence Square, and we pulled the chariot, and it heave and it hoe, and Jacka fall off, and somebody head bust, and it had a fight, and we get wrapped up and taken back to Belmont. And the mothers were, going crazy. They couldn't believe, Uncle Cletus get real cuss, and we get banned. That was it, 9 years old. First time thrown into the heat of Juve in a real intense way, and then get the plug pulled. So for me, that was lasting. That was everlasting. I couldn't wait to plug back in. Yeah. And I didn't get a chance to do that until I was like 18 or something. So it took a while.
Wow.
So 9 years old, that left an indelible impression on my mind. And for me, Juve was dark, dangerous, scary, bloody, fiery, but fun.
And so it remains to this day.
So it remains to this day.
So I want to jump to Juve, in the last, since the last time we were able to Juve in 2020, and how much of that little boy, that little 9-year-old boy, is manifest on a Juve morning when we meet up by the stadium or by the box.
Black box.
Yeah.
Well, that little 9-year-old boy is there inherently in the anticipation of his Juve, in the expectation, But by the time Juve morning come in recent times, is a dragon. I've had to become a dragon. I've had to grow into being somebody who can lead a Juve band. Do that by the way, in a shy way. And it's not me alone; it's a whole crew. But on a Juve morning, I know my role, and there are other people who clearly know their role. Like you know your role on a Juve morning. When you hold that flag and you do so, and you and the rest of the ladies lead the way, my job easy after that. is getting the band together to get rolling is the real challenge plenty times. And it's understandable. I mean, my first understanding of Juve was heat, blood, fire, bacchanal, mayhem, So I don't discount that aspect of it. But over the years, it's gotten a little challenging in certain regards, getting it organized and rolling. And it gets tough when the people that are part of making it happen start having more fun than they ought to in advance. So by the time the morning reach, you're not used to the whole project, you're not used to the whole enterprise, you're wasted,
Yeah.
So we've learned over the years that, it's spirits are high, but you don't have to be high to the point where you can't do nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a kind of focus that sets in. I become incredibly focused because I become incredibly responsible. I feel incredibly responsible. There's a weight sometimes. So by the time we reach this stage, that's when I can exhale. That's when I can relax. And we've had years where we've had to fight
to get on the stage,
to access the stage, and we had to reenact that Campbell moment
Yeah.
in real time every time. And there were times when I got all too real. There was one time, where I saw the policeman hand on his revolver, and I said to myself, "What are you planning to do in this moment?"
Yeah. What could he possibly have in his mind?
There's one part of me that's saying what he planned to do in this moment, and there's the next part of me that's the dragon that's very focused and committed to getting us on the stage.
Yeah.
And by then it's not just me, because
it's
have
a few thousand people behind.
That then reach up and they say, "Well, boss, what we doing?" It's well, I guess we had to do something. We're going so.
Yeah.
And we just had to invoke that right of free and safe passage time and again. I remember sitting down after one of them Juves and saying, "Lord, maybe this is we have to just keep re-invoking this moment again and again, because of how we choose to engage the festival, how we choose to engage the ritual." Because one of the last Juves that we were going in this direction towards the sun, we see everybody heading in the opposite direction away from the sun, and I thought we missed the memo. And not only were they heading in the opposite direction, they also had ropes, and not just ropes, some of them had little fences. It was jokey, it was incredible.
Yes, I remember that, and I remember your declaration.
Well, in a moment like that's when you had to say, come on, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Is this Juve or what?
Yeah.
And not like we consider ourselves to be these, Juve purists or custodians of the Juve. We recognize that changes are constant, but sometimes something is so glaring. And actually, one of the reasons we got involved in Juve, I remember seeing back in the day one of the banks having a Juve band somewhere in Hawaii, and people come out in these little strippy. I was like, but that is not Juve, because you know what my 9-year-old Juve experience was. And I thought, nah, we have to arrest this situation. And it took a long, we didn't sit down one day and say, let me make a Juve band. That's the next thing too. It went through much iterations following Robert Young, and in those early days of Vulgar Fraction. Before it even was called Vulgar Fraction, it was Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea.
Yes.
And following Men of the Arena.
Yes.
And then them getting enough of us and announcing that it was time for us to leave the band in a very inelegant manner. And we left the band because we realized we were a menace by then, we had grown, and people started looking to us to what we're doing for Juve. And I remember leaving the band, and Robert wanted to go that way, and a couple of our people wanted to go another way, and I said, okay, we're going so, and I look around, whoever was with me, that became
the band.
Following year, that became the band.
And that was Juxtapose.
That was Juxtapose, with Steve.
That was 94.
Started in your math's good.
94. Because that was the first year that I played Juve as a without my mother.
Right, okay.
And I was allowed to come because it was you. And she knew you. Yeah. So she knew that I would be around people who would, see about me.
She know I know you a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's been a part of our thing too. We've been, because of our good relations with good people in all kind of dimensions and spaces across theater and mass and whatnot, the Juve band had a natural kind of feeding,
Yeah.
you know, and people would come to the band and then they would bring other people. And you remember in front of the band, because you were always in front of the band, they would have the little box with the children in it.
Yes, yes,
that old
Natalie
Ichimu
Phillips'
clan.
children. Yes.
And
And,
now-
Daniel DiFantale's children
Yeah,
as
and
well.
now they're all big
They're all
and out of
big.
the box.
Yeah.
And I look there and I see and next other people in the box is like, yo.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you grow up and you see all your peers, children now coming because they want to come, not because mommy tell them come
Yeah.
or whatever. And they're coming with their friends. They're not coming with mommy, and mommy might be somewhere in the band
Yeah.
or daddy might be somewhere in the band. So that intergenerationality, all those
It's like,
things.
yeah, all my niece and nephews, I was like, you don't know me in the band.
Yeah.
Don't see me, don't know me.
I mean, like the last
Yeah.
big Juve we played, your niece was,
Yeah.
she made an indelible mark on
Yeah.
that Juve morning.
Yeah.
You know, it was captured in the video Spirit that Shari did.
Yes.
Shari and, you know, Kai Miller wrote about
Kai
it.
Miller wrote about it,
you know.
yeah.
And I was like, well, we reached quite inside Kai Miller book. And I wonder if you know that his granddaughter writing
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
And, you know, knowing the story, knowing Kisembe, who I loved dearly, and seeing the first carnival after Kisembe, and then seeing my girl go through what she was going through and blowing that fire, and really getting to understand the multi-dimensionality of the Juve, the many interstices of the thing, you know, and
Yeah.
it really pains me when people sort of denigrate it as just fun
And a wine and jam.
and a wildness
yeah,
and
a-
mayhem.
Yeah.
And, you know, it really pains me
Yeah.
over the years because
And I mean, the
I've been doing
mayhem
this
is
for so
part
long.
of it, but you know, it's almost like, you know, the universe exists in a state
There's
of
an
chaos,
order.
and we are
Yeah.
creating a kind of order within
There
that
is an order. In
chaos.
all the chaos, there's an order. Even if we understand it. I see people who come to the thing without that understanding and they get wild.
Yeah,
I've seen people lose themselves.
Yeah.
But it's a different energy. I see people caught up in the vibration, caught up in the spirit, but it's a different energy from people just getting wild.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
over the years, even with the very fellas that we bring into the fold, we have to say, yo, they'll be pelting up paint at people, they'll be doing this, they'll be doing that.
It is an anointing.
It's an anointing. You know how much
Yeah.
people I anoint on a Juve
Yeah,
morning?
yeah,
But
yeah.
don't be aggressing people.
Yeah.
And it's something that has to be transmitted.
Yeah.
Because, you know, over the years now, I see them doing it now.
Yeah.
Whereas before it used to be
Yeah,
police. One of the boys get beat down by police at time, tried, but he looked for it, you know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Because it have order.
yeah. It have a order. I mean, I remember there was one year when a student came from somewhere, America, somewhere. And I was standing there with my flag after Juve, and her face was covered. So she came and she wiped her mouth on my flag, and I said, "Don't wipe your stink mouth on my." I got so mad, and she was like, "But it's dirty." I was like, "It is not
No, it's not
dirty.
dirty. It's not dirty. It's
Why
not
are you
dirty.
putting your stink
just
mouth on
dirty.
my flag?"
You just dirty the flag. The flag not dirty.
You do not understand what this flag is about.
yeah.
Do not be disrespectful.
And
you
it
know?
have a lot of people that don't understand
don't
more and more,
understand.
and there are a few people who do. And even if they don't understand, and like I could explain it to you, they just understand. And that's one of the things about the arena we're in, right? Is a depth of understanding that transcends comprehension and articulation. You
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
that's why we make songs.
Yes.
You know, that's
Yes.
that's why the drums drum. That's why
Yeah.
the rhythm is there. That's why on that morning, you know,
Yeah.
the vibration takes over, as
Yeah.
I say. You know, you're all pointing the way with the flags, the lavender. There's a formation, there's a structure, there's an order, which we've arrived at over time.
Yeah.
In the earlies, I mean, Blue was
Yeah.
an abomination.
But that gives us a good opportunity to go into our next song.
But I don't want to move on without saying Andre Tanker.
Yeah.
Andre Tanker. We made a nuisance of ourselves. We were so excited at his concerts, his live performances. We would sing so loud. You were there. You and
Yes.
Posse, John, myself, Roger. We ended up on stage a couple of times, and it was because of that, and singing in front of rather loud too, that
Yeah.
we actually got the impetus to do what we're doing now.
To form a band.
You know, and
Wow.
Andre was one of the first men that endorsed and encouraged it. And then when we got the opportunity to do Ben Lyon with him, that was like, what a blessing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we can't move on without saying
Yeah.
Andre Tanker.
Andre Tanker.
Andre Tanker.
And now we calling down our next jumbie.
Oh my goodness.
Papa Shantwell, sing your song. Go on, Papa Shantwell, sing your song. I walk with the glory of kings. Enough, I had enough. More than enough, I say. But if they think that I go sat in a corner and cry, they damn well lie. So go on, Papa Shantwell, sing your song. Go on, Papa Shantwell, sing your song. I walk with the glory of kings. I walk with the glory of kings. Enough, I cry enough. Enough tears till they dry and leave salty tracks on my face. But I cry so long that it wash away every trace of the pressure I feel and erase every hurt with a smile. So go on, Papa Shantwell, sing your song. Go on, Papa Shantwell, sing your song. I walk with the glory of kings.
The glory of kings for the resistance.
I walk with the glory of kings.
Yeah.
Go on, Papa Shantwell, sing your song. First time, we know dancing shoes and, all the hardcore
Crucial
messaging,
decision
and all that stuff. I've now given a damn for your culture. First time I heard this song, I was like, wow. And I was struck by the quietness of it. I was struck by the ease and the surety of his self-assertion, of walking in the glory of kings, and the idea that you go on,
Yeah.
you go on,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that enough. I had enough, more than enough. I mean, this song for me is sublime, and it redefined and expanded the notion of Rapso in my mind. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the cliche of things, or we think that everything that's called Rapso had to sound a certain way and had to iterate a certain vibration and address certain themes. Even in the early days when we were desirous of getting into writing music, we never even called what we did Rapso. As resistance. Say what we was doing was Rapso. Resistance and Mandela. You say you had our voice, that's Rapso, and resistance saw something that we'd written for Juve. With Steve Woodett drawings.
Yeah.
In them days, we had no money to make no fancy flyers or nothing. So Steve would draw, and I would write. And we would cut it out and copy it and put it in little pill cases and hand it out. And he pull it out one day and say, "You write this?" And I say, "Yeah." He said, "But I rap so." So that kind of endorsement. Prior to that, to meeting Resistance, working with Christine Johnson in her little apartment, as a production assistant with Bagger's company, and not a very good one at that, because I was not very good at calling up people and getting them to commit to giving us money. Still not very good at that, right? Christine was hardcore, and I learned a lot from her. But Christine had a box of records, and a little record player, and inside of there it had a Lancelot Lane, and it had a Resistance, and it had a Shorty and the Love Circle or something. So and I play them records till they couldn't play no more. I play them records inside out. And when Christine come in the evening for a report, it's like, I could give all the lyrics for the song, but I can't tell you how much money we get to do. And I realized, production
maybe
was
this
not
is
my thing. The music was calling. So meeting Resistance, who was so accessible, so humble, so gracious, so generous, so giving, so encouraging, all these years later, as an actor and a Juve man, and being invited to do workshops with the Rapso community at the time, helping them with their articulation, theater thing, presentation, performance. And because things don't go one way, I was, getting into the Rapso vibration, discovering Ataclan as a cousin after my grandfather passing away. Suddenly realized, wait now, he's my cousin?
Yeah.
And admiring Ataclan, and him drawing close and coming around chanting and every day. That vibration, working with Stanley, starting to build that vibe, And John and Roger as the singers, and Stanley and I as the rough voice man, and Stanley as the chanter. coming together through the Juve, through that juxtaposition of working with the Rapso community, through all these little different, happenstances.
Yeah.
And then when we got signed to Rituals, Resistance was the big brother on the label. He was the icon on the label. Resistance and Tanker were on the label.
Yeah.
Mongol was on the label. And for my birthday, that year after we signed, Lauren had hosted a party for me, and Resistance was invited. And for me, he was the guest of honor. It wasn't my birthday no more. And when it was time for a little bit of a sharing, I asked if he could sing that song, and he sang it. And so that's my song. I love that song. I love that song. I love how, you're not shouting. It's like, yo, I know who I am. I know what I'm about. So you could carry on. Powerful, powerful song.
That kind of clarity about, about self. There's so few people who are in the music industry right now who are articulating that kind of clarity of self. As someone who teaches, as someone who is constantly interacting with young people through the box, through your theater work, etc., how do you encourage young people to find that self and find that clarity of self?
Yeah, it's fundamental. I mean, I've starting with self, right? Starting with self, discovering self, getting to know and love aspects of self that one might have been previously judgmental about or contemptuous of or whatnot. And once again, the thing that helped me tremendously was through the arts and the culture and the mass and the performance, through tent theater, through discovering, things in a conscious way that were always there. Getting to sing the old Sparrow songs and the old Kitchener songs, and getting to discover the difference between a Jab Mulasi and a Jab Jab, and to play with Robert speech and to play with the idea of the Piro, just getting to play with these things, and discover the power of these things. And also, it was huge getting to travel early at age 22 with tent theater and do workshops and see other people respond to our thing and realize, but we have thing, we have something, we is somebody. Because in many regards, despite all the everything else, there's a sense of self that you're always striving for otherness or encouraged for otherness. And somebody like me, I always say a little red boy from Belmont who managed to get through and go to St. Mary's College. It was almost like written down. The script was written, how I was supposed to proceed, but I didn't hold to that script. Steve Udet always used to say, "Look at you, a good red fire with your dad ahead." I was like, my poor mother. She came around to appreciate the dad ahead eventually, and I was able to cut my RAS just before she passed, so she was very happy. And that was for her. But all that was challenging things, challenging notions of self, challenging deeply ingrained self-contempt. And it's hard to call out self-contempt for what it is. It's hard to acknowledge it. It's hard to own it. It's hard to say, but I've been thinking this way and feeling this way for the longest while, and But how do you get beyond that? And that's why I say the tools are there, the music, these characters, these archetypes, the carnival itself, the community, the people. It's there, take a pride in it. Don't want it to be anything but what it is. You could want it to be more, but not something else. And I think that's one of the things that we've been guilty of. We're always trying to be something else or figure we have to morph into somebody else. No, we have a very strong we. So, I say that we celebrate that. But it takes a process of discovery. So
we talk about the Rapso, we talk about to a certain extent the acting and the Juve. Where did your entry into mass with Calulu Company and Minchell come in, and how did that also feed into the the thinging that was tinging.
My mother played mass in Carnival of the Sea. I can't remember what year it was. I mean, I was always a TV pyong, and certainly I was attracted to Carnival very intensely, even though, as I say, it was very experiential in Belmont. And we could literally just walk down, as I got older, walk down Jernam Avenue and be in the savannah for anything. At a certain point, too, I thoroughly enjoyed what was coming across the TV screen, particularly at the March Gras. The March Gras was very, very engaging. And even on a Monday and a Tuesday, I was good watching the TV screen rather than going out and just being in one spot and seeing one thing, right? And Minchell stood out early, but Minchell only really began to mean something more when my mother decided to play in Minchell. And because by then, I think I would have been like 13 or 14. I was like, even though my father played King, my mother played Mass, my sister played Kiddies Carnival, everybody around was playing Mass, the urge to play Mass was never in me, But I was being attracted to Minchell, watching out for Minchell, and by the time we were in Form 6 and about to leave school, the batch of us who were in school, Roger Roberts, Martin Telfer, Hayden Ford, Ronald Sam, a bunch of us decided, let me play Mass. They were keen on playing Mass. I was like, let me try this thing. And that year was Callaloo.
Right.
And so this is before Callaloo Company.
Right.
And we went and we signed up to play in Callaloo. And the same day that we signed up, there was a sign saying, help wanted, report to so-and-so Carlos Street.
Right.
So we left the registration camp, which was on French Street, and we went to the mass camp on Carlos Street. And as we were walking in the gate, Minchell was coming down the steps with a handful of feathers, and he said, who has an eye for color here? I never hear nobody say nothing like that in my life. What that mean, who have an eye for color? And it was Minchell and Todd at the time, Mei Ling, Judy Sanchez, Jeffrey Stanford, Charles Applewhite.
Wow.
All of them was in that particular camp. And that camp was like where they did special projects and stuff.
Right.
So we fell into the special projects. We started working on a costume called Madame Hiroshima.
Yes.
That Bote played. And I didn't even know who Bote was or what the costume was, but we literally worked on that costume all day into the night. In my mind, it was like we went right through the night, but I'm sure we left and took a break and came back. And came and finished it the next day and walked it up to the savannah, and Bote put it on and became something that we couldn't see when we were making it.
Yeah.
And it was the most incredible, one of the most incredible experiences of my life. Minchell had a mask called I've Seen the Bird of Paradise. She spread herself before me and I will never be the same again.
Yeah.
Well, I saw Madame Hiroshima. She exploded before me and I will never be the same again. And that was it. I was hooked from age 19. And we were in, working in a certain zone of the band that led to us being deeply involved to all the years later where we created the Callaloo Company.
Yeah.
And did all those incredible things, including going to Atlanta and Barcelona and Russia and Lord knows where else. The mass.
Cuba.
Yeah.
Next tune, DJ Shot Drop.
Shot Drop. Bring ting.
Yeah, boy.
Declare a year of all I'd still be a man. I'd still need a love. It's the God's plan. If I were king, with country at war, it couldn't come before my obsession with you. I'd have to give up my golden crown just for your love. Give up my throne.
If I Were King, Lancelot Cable Lane.
Lancelot Cable Lane, talk about defying expectations. Talk about, being thrilled to discover something new, something fresh, new dimension of expression, especially in my and our early quest to find our voice, to understand, I remember we were working on a project one time and the inside thing was going beyond the limits of expression, our self-imposed limits of expression, So when I think of Lancelot in the oldies, I think Strike Squad, Target, or Get Off the Radio, or, these sort of aggressive, or even, he did these epic video things that were halfway cheesy, halfway patriotic, stirring, triumphant, low production values, lots of heart, He was considered kind of crazy by many, even growing up in Belmont.
Eccentric.
He was from Gonzales.
Quite eccentric.
He had a hard time gaining, that sort of respect. But coming around to Rapso, coming around to Resistance, pointing out, look, this thing didn't start with we. It had this man there that was doing this thing, coming around to hearing Blow Away as a big man, coming around to hearing You Think It's Soft and all these things that I remember was already playing on the radio. And then, to happen upon this track because of an album that was made by a good friend, from abroad, who find the thing and bring the thing back for us to discover, don't lock yourself in a box. Rapso man could sing love songs. Rapso man could sing tender, vulnerable vibrations. And, one of the things I challenge about our expression sometimes is the overemphasis on the carnivalesque. And the overemphasis on the exuberance and the aggression and all those aspects of self. And, what good is a music if you can't express love, if you can't express hurt, if you can't express pain, if you can't express desire, if you can't express all these things that make us human. So this was redemption. This was like, look. Lancelot
if Lance could do it, who is me?
And so tender. I mean, his love for whoever he's singing this song for, which I know is his wife, is so true and so pure in the singing. It's like, I don't think he even cares what people think about his singing. He's just singing from a very true, heartical place. So.
Heartical. Yeah, really beautiful song. And
a surprising song. Really surprising song.
You're definitely not looking for Lance there at all.
But then when I dig up in Lance's box of songs, he had weird songs. He had Nancy Sinatra, These Boots Are Made for Walking. He had a Chinese Brush song. He had all kind of strange... Chinese Brush, I forgot about that, strange songs. There's some of these songs sounds like he's doing musical theater. I do musical theater. I'm a theater man. Sometimes you think, well, because I do this, that kind of impinges on my right to say I do this or whatever. No, you could do it all. And you could do it all with the same integrity and honesty and whatnot.
I remember Resistance saying that, when they went to him and they were like, we call him to sing Rapso and blah, blah, blah. And, Lance was like, I'm not really interested in the name. I'm interested in what you're doing with the music and what the mission of the music is,
And, coming to discover that Lance was one of the formative people in terms of most persistence in going after Emancipation Day as a holiday. That is a crucial aspect of his mission. And even his rejection of all the admiration, and the sort of saying, thank you for inspiring us. He's like, no,
that's not what it. No, just do the work. Just do the work. That's what he was most interested in. He and it is unfortunate that he died before getting the acknowledgement from his society and
Yes,
his community.
it's
But
very unfortunate, and doubly unfortunate that he died in the midst of the coup.
right.
So
Yeah.
in many ways, his passing has been overshadowed in many regards.
But I always think about his death in the midst of the coup as a kind of symbol of, like almost like his heart breaking
Well, yeah.
over what was taking place,
Yeah,
because the coup for him must have been like, something that was so counter patriotic,
Yeah.
Just imagine this thing starts when there's a football game going on. I mean,
I wasn't here, so it even took on a bigger dimension being in London
yeah,
in those days before social media and whatnot.
yeah, we're getting a ball by
Getting
ball.
a call
Yeah,
and being told that it have a coup in Trinidad, and it's like, a coup in Trinidad, it does not
The
compute.
two things
don't add up. And then I saw a BBC report, and it's like, you ever see a news report when you're in foreign about yourself or your country, and
you don't recognize it.
and it's like the first time you're hearing your own accent coming back at you, kind of thing. It was very surreal.
Yeah,
Very surreal being away from it
yeah,
while it was happening.
yeah. Wow. We lived through some things
We
in
lived through some
Trinidad.
times. We lived
Things
through some
and
times.
times. Things and times in Trinidad. Short drop. Give me the next tune now.
Come one, come all, cleansing time. Bring your tools. Fire time. Right now, let we start this blaze and bring down this flame. Let we go, light it up, clean it up. From Central to Port of Spain, I can feel winds of change. I'm telling you, let me go, clean it up. Don't try to contain, just let it escape. Right now, let me burn and rise in love. Something got to give, reignite that flame. Right now, let me take the name and blaze the trail. Let me take this. Let me take this fire. Oh, when you think it over, you better think it over. When you think it over, you better think it over. When you think it over, you will getting colder. Before the flight is over, you better think it over. I hear voices crying still from the blood that spill. Well, let me go, clean it up, light it up. Light a fire on them hill, or the gunman will go bomb it up, go shoot it up, he go lick it up. Don't try to contain, just let we maintain. Right now let we burn and rise in love. Let we all just pray, save us from doomsday. So now in the Father's name, let's
Cleansing Fire from another one that we lost recently, Singing Sandra.
Yeah.
Wow, what a tune.
It's
I mean,
tune,
you called on some serious tunes in the Warren, man.
Bless
Some
you.
serious tunes.
I pride myself on the
Yeah,
selection.
yeah.
I mean, music is very, very important to me. Even to say that is kind of glib.
Yeah.
Music is life. I did a song
Yeah.
with Ming a long time ago called Music is Life. Life is music. Music is life. Singing Sandra, this song, we happened to be in studio the same time with the same producer, Dale Ryan, who I think Dale Ryan, I think is a musical genius. And he had written a song for us, and we've never really recorded songs that somebody else had written for us. It's called Make a Drain. You know?
Yes.
And while we were working on Make a Drain, he was working with Sandra, and I was hearing peeps of it. I was like, what's this? And then he was saying, well, Sandra was very particular because she wanted a certain drummer on the track, and he was kind of eager to go and whatnot. And the drummer turned out to be Junior. And after Junior did his thing, he was like, okay, I understand. I understand. And then Then when I heard the track, I was like, you ever had like envy, instantaneous envy, instantaneous like, damn,
why didn't do that, boy?
Why didn't put me on the track, boy? It's like, oh. So there was that song, and it's one of those songs that is part of my playlist. You know, as a selector yourself, you have certain songs that they right? And every time I play a song, people ask, what is that song? It's a song that was overlooked at the time for whatever reason. And for me, it's indicative of the kind of waste, you know, the waste that takes place every year with our expression and our music and our culture. But beyond that, Sandra, I had a relationship with Sandra. I used to do her voice for her Savannah presentations.
Right.
I did it a couple of times. We won the Monarch, I'll have you know, with one of them. And the last time she asked me to do her voice, we were at kind of cross purposes for a bit. It was tough to say I come in the Savannah Carnival Sunday night because, you know, Carnival Sunday night for me, the build up to Juve is on. And that's the one time where you're in the last little quiet zone before you go out there and bang your belly to do battle. And I was trying to convince her to let me record the voice and the press play. And she would have none of it. She would have none of it. I had to pick up myself and go to Savannah and be there. And this is what was written for me. And just do what she wants me to do. And I was like, you know what? It's Sandra. I'm going to do it. And I was so happy. I went and I did it. I was so, the love, her appreciation, her, you know, like her performance depended on it in my mind. As just a little voice at the top of the thing. No. She wanted that voice that was going to set the tone and put her in the zone to do what she had to do. And, you know, I never forget her for blessing me in that way, you know, for encouraging me. And then every time we meet up, you know, she was truly mother, you know, I didn't have to, she just exuded it. You know, she would always check in on you. She would ask one or two questions that put you in her zone one time, you know. You know, and what a loss, you know, when we lost her along the way there, you know. And this song for me will always epitomize. And you notice I was observing a lot of my song selections are not the hit songs or the obvious songs or the songs that people are known by. You know, Andre could have been Siamanda. But, you know, she could have been Voices or Die With My Dignity. But this idea of cleansing fire and the timing of it. And that's another sad part. In this time, in this rounds, with certain messages that are so crucial are being squashed.
The messages that we need to hear are
messages
not...
that we need to hear are not given the ventilation, given the air to breathe. And, you know, instead, people just happen to hear it because I play in it and they happen to be in the box or whatever. And you see, I wish I knew this song. Yeah. And for me, that's a serious indictment. You know, the controllers. What's wrong with the controllers? You know? These so-called controllers. So, I mean, and it's not like there's some grand conspiracy. I don't believe in a grand conspiracy. I think there's just a kind of ignorance. And a don't-caredness and not taking our time and a carelessness and a casualness. I would say a casual callousness about the stuff that we have that's right there. You know?
But, I mean, also there's this, you know, the soca of the last 15 to 20 years has been very much in a kind of fet, wave your flag, shake your bamsi loop.
Not the carnival, the soca, the carnival, everything has been sort of like in a feedback loop.
And I find it like mind-boggling that after 2 years of Panini, people still singing about whining on a girl in a fet. You know, where are you going to whine on a girl in a fet?
Well, that's it. You know, I heard a good one today, Wine in the Gallery. You know, at least somebody put a spin on it. I mean, this is one of the challenges. I mean, Carnival is seasonal. Carnival is a ritual. It comes up annually. So topicality used to be a big factor. Sometimes to the detriment of certain expressions because they're so topical and specific. They only live for that
Yeah,
moment.
but I mean, look at the kind of reach that Patrice is having. For example, singing a very simple song, "Drink Water and Mind My Business,"
Because the universal
because it's
sentiment.
a universal sentiment,
And it's so well phrased and
Yeah.
delivered and everything else. Sometimes just these simple things catch a fire.
It's the simplicity of
The
it.
simplicity, the purity of it. I mean, this is the time of the year when the Tricanal Gmail inbox is flooded with the latest offerings. So there's an acid test. I not downloading and putting all of that on my, So if I press on from the time I hear bumper, that's it. You're out of my playlist. If bumper is in the first line or two, you're out of my playlist because it's a default.
Yeah.
I mean, you challenge that
Yeah.
default.
Yeah.
It's like a blind spot. It's like a belief that you have to have certain things in this. It's like I was saying, when we wanted to start writing, we thought we had to sing and write like Resistance is writing or like Lancelot was writing. No, we have our own issues of oppression in our own way, in our own time to address, coming from my Belmont perspective and Stanley Malabar perspective and Roger Sabo perspective, and together we come in at it from another place.
I mean, I feel like Carnival is all about, or what we think is Carnival is all about content with no context.
Absolutely, devoid of context.
Yeah, I mean,
and a lot of the practitioners and players, they're so full of themselves and they believe that they're so full of it, whatever it is, that they are it. They don't even recognize, you're just a bit player in a big thing.
yeah.
Whatever, you could leave a bigger mark than a Shadow. You could leave a bigger mark than a Sparrow. You could leave a bigger mark than a Sandra. Look, humble yourself. Humble yourself. Respect. This thing is a big, big arena. Respect you. Don't
And
come
do
with
the
your
work.
glaring ignorance.
Do the work.
Yes, exactly. Do the work. I really
Yeah.
have nothing but contempt for... We have terms for it. It's a mocking pretender. I didn't make it up. The culture provides us with it.
Yeah.
So if we don't even tap into that and call it for what it is, and we're seeing it, like, there's that viral video. I'm saying it in big.
Yes.
Who you feel you is? The Princess Margaret? Who you feel you is? Yeah. That's like
it
calling
in
out
big.
some of them. Saying it in big. Mocking pretenders.
Next June, short drop. I'm saying it in big.
I'm sure.
I am confused, very, very much confused. Man telling me what to do, and they telling me where to go. They telling me how to walk, they even telling me how to talk. If man really know the way I must walk, how come they don't know? I don't like good talk. They tell me don't walk with Jacob because Jacob just walk and shake up. They tell me don't talk about Trump because the man could stink with Doja. They're telling me what to do, and they're telling me where to go. The knowledge I want to get is how to escape Mr. Death. No walk with Jacob. Just because he does walk and shake up. Walking in town, a good bad man coming down. Why you getting so fat? Why you eating like that? What's the size of your head, boy? You eating too much bread. If you really know, I eat too much bread. How come you don't know? I don't like his head. They tell me don't walk with Jacob because Jacob just walk and shake up. They tell me don't talk about Trump because the man could stink with
Toe Jam.
Toe Jam.
Great tune by
Just because you don't walk and shake up.
Wow. So many messages in that song, eh?
So many
many
messages.
messages in that song.
As a youth, listening to that song, I didn't get half the messages.
Yeah.
But as an adult, I totally appreciate it. As a songwriter, I even more appreciate it because to get into Shadow's weird, off-key, jokey, frame of mind is not something that one can just do because one, it's like when Marley says, if I went to school, I'd be a fool. And I don't mean that I don't know how schooled Shadow is, but if he was schooled, he wouldn't be able to do what he was doing.
Phrase things in the way that he did.
Yeah. I mean, he's schooled in life, he's schooled in the music, he's deeply philosophical. I mean, he is a philosopher more than anything
Shadow
else.
essentialism.
It's that shadow essentialism.
Yeah.
And, to start off a song by saying, I am confused. Very, very much confused. That's the beginning of the song, And then he just goes down the road from there, and it's an existential argument. You come in to tell me about a man who does walk and shake up and a man who foot smell and stink, and what I want to know is how to escape death.
Yeah.
You're not on my level.
Yeah.
You're not bringing things that resonating with me.
And I mean, essentially, this is what we were talking about before. I mean, where are these songs telling us how to make it through this time?
And not in no pedantic, didactic, school essay kind of way, because here we have a man saying he confused because as he going his way through life, people come to him and say, don't talk to that one because he might be gay, or don't talk to that one because he's smelly, or don't talk to that one. And then they come and say, but you're eating too much, look how fat you getting. I just love to tell you how fat
oh my
you're
gosh,
getting. Love to tell you how. I've had people come up to me and say, oh God, you look better on the TV. Or,
wow.
or you're shorter in real life. Just whatever,
just like whatever nonsense comes out of their mouth.
Whatever come out their mouth, they don't care how it land, how it hang, how it swing. And he's saying, I'm not interested in none of that.
Yeah.
And I could, adhere to that. I concur.
I mean, it's also an astounding lack of empathy.
Yeah.
And, I feel like we see it so much now. There's so much rage and hostility, particularly on social media.
And casual cruelty.
Particularly on social media. It's just like, I mean, where did all of this come from and where is it going?
It's always been there.
It was always there. And I think that this is
residual.
What,
it's from unaddressed stuff.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing we talk about, the self-contempt, notions of self, where the thing come from, the purveyors of the thing. Shadow had this way. I remember seeing him doing a concert in Tobago. We were doing Tobago Jazz. Erykah Badu was on. And he was the star of the show.
Yeah.
But he started off very shakily, and at one point he got a response from the audience. He said, "Oh, you like me?"
Yeah.
And that clicked in, and he went into a whole next zone. So imagine there's Shadow thinking, these people ain't like me. These people, when he had sung that song, am I ugly or what?
Mm-hmm.
You get behind these things, and you think, people are faced with a lot. We used to call Brigo ugly till he play ugly. Mm-hmm. And then when you watch Brigo, he not ugly. He had an incredible face. And there's that whole reframing of ugly, whole reframing of, what is beautiful and what is pretty and what is not. And some of them beauty queens to me and them, I know what part of them beautiful. They might be pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty dolly. But, not beautiful per se, not riveting. And because we limit these notions, the JC's Carnival Queen was a thing.
Yeah.
And we got rid of it. I look at some of the band launches when the band launches were in the heyday, and I'm saying, but this is JC's Carnival Queen.
Come back.
Gone beyond into the metaverse and come again. And some of these women that I'm seeing is like what lab they come out of, and what is their background, what is their heritage, what's their ethnicity, what is their
connection to Carnival?
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah.
And it does much, gives you pause. It look at you. When you look at the society, when you look at the thing, Minchell say the Carnival is a mirror. Mm-hmm. If everybody feeling sexy, well, I guess we need to address sexiness or issues of sex or sexuality or whatever,
But I mean, I remember Nari Apro also saying that every feather that you have, when you meet a black Indian, every feather that he have come from a fight. But
Where them
now you
feathers
can go
come
on. Now you can go and buy feathers.
You haven't earned your feathers.
You haven't earned your feathers.
You haven't earned your feathers, and that's a dilemma. That's very much the time we're in. I meet a lot of young people who have a desire to do all kinds of things, and I says, "Well, great, do the work," and they get vexed because it's like, "What do you mean, do the work? Do the work, do the work. It will show, it will tell, it will pay off in the end." You know, I'm working with a young poet right now. He's eager. He thinks he's ready, and I said to him, "I don't think you're ready yet, you know. And you come by me. I didn't come by you, you know. So trust me." You know? I say when you could say that you're ready to do that without that little wry smile, then you're ready. But until that wry smile disappears, you know. And I doing this a long time.
Yeah.
I ain't doing it yesterday.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, you certainly worked with the greatest in the business.
All kind. And I mean, I've been tested, yes. A 19-year mother decided I was her son.
Yeah.
I got a chance to be in her play. And for me, as 19 years old, to be in N2 play and be anointed as her son, of course.
Yeah.
It didn't challenge that. And everything you do after that, you have to hold yourself up to that. You know, what would N2 think or whatever? Not to the point of being obsessive or whatever. You know, and then you get to a point where it's like, that's integrated into you. You know, Walcott said, you know, I thought this singing thing was going to last a couple years, but, you know, he endorsed it coming down.
Yeah.
Because he was always saying, you know, you're too good not to act. And he would always just make work for me. He would just take me around the world doing all kind of work. I'm very grateful for that, you know.
Yeah.
While still pursuing the desire and the dream to sing songs about Juve and all them things, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I consider myself very blessed to be just here right now talking to you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Give thanks.
Give thanks.
Yeah.
Give thanks. Short drop tune.
When does someone really become a good citizen? I'd like to know for sure. Why when the ordinary man disagrees with the establishment, they call it treason? Why should they persecute a brother for seeking black power? Don't they know a blind man could see that this is blatant hypocrisy? The real traitors and them are all high in society. Yet the government protecting all of them and penalizing you and me. And in a million different ways they violate the law. It's the same good no good bastards who oppress the poor. They sell in black market, making excess profit, paying a starvation salary. These good citizens are the architects of economic slavery. They say you have the right to criticize, but then you are victimized, and without any reason. Many a time you find yourself politically paralyzed by that same good citizen. Yet these fakes and phonies enjoy a long life of luxury while they spread corruption throughout the country. When they should be arrested, they're protected and respected in this society. And in a million different ways, they violate the law. It's the same good, no good bastards who oppress them all.
Big tune by the Mighty Sparrow. Good citizen.
These good citizens are the architects of economic slavery. When does someone really become a good citizen? I would like to know for sure. I mean, sorry, show off on that track.
Yeah.
Apart from his singing ability and his obvious gifts as a singer, I mean, Sparrow is probably the calypso with the greatest range. Sparrow could sing on anything, with integrity, with full investment, with credibility. I believe this is one of those songs that Devines would have written in the time when, you know, we didn't know it was a Devine song, because there's another credit to another genius. To craft a song that is so politically, you know, savvy, with such sweet melody, with rhythm, bounce, you know, dimension. It takes you up, it takes you down, and it have parts you just want to look forward to.
Almost symphonic.
Yeah. No, this song, we actually, as I was saying, within the camp, Roger loves this song. Roger loves this song. Everybody loves this song. Want to do it over as a thing. I sent it to Simon, our musical director. I said, Simon, but give you a key, we could sing it. See that song? The range of that song is incredible. You know? And sometimes when you shift the key of a song, it doesn't have the same feel. We managed to shift it down a semitone, and but even that semitone is a challenge. We'll take our time with it.
No, you have to do justice to that tune. You have to do justice.
Sparrow, I always say I grew up in Belmont, but Sparrow, Simeon Road, Sparrow Hideaway plays a huge part in my upbringing, in my development, because I grew up in Belmont because my mother and father separated at one point, and she went back to the family home in Belmont. With the grandfather and the grandmother and the great-grandmother and the many aunts who also break up with their husband around that same time and just grew up in a big rambunctious unit. And my father lived in Simeon Road, Pity Valley, for a long time. And then after the extended family exploded in Belmont, people went to different parts. And a bunch of the family went down to Simeon Road, Pity Valley. So my father lived up in the Gap, and my uncle lived just down in the next part of the Gap, and another aunt lived just across the street. But she lived right under Sparrow's Hideaway, literally.
Wow.
Whatever was happening in the hideaway, no sleep. So Pity Valley, Simeon Road was a stomping ground as well. And in those early days of the hideaway, when we were just old enough to sneak in, I got to see Kitchener sing Dog Bite You and Audrey whining on stage and Sparrow and the Troubadours, and it was incredible. It was incredible. And of course we were great friends with the kids, Sancho and Tony and Karen and all of them. And that was a period of my life that was magical. You know, to run away and go inside the hideaway on a night when it was pumping with all these fellows who now, you know, legendary. So Sparrow was always big in my mind. I'll never forget, you know, The Lizard. As a child, The Lizard was a fascinating song for me. Didn't understand the other meaning of it then, but just the whole idea of a lizard running up the teacher dress and disappearing. Where the lizard?
A true mystery. Oh gosh.
So Sparrow, the king. That is the king. Hey, in all regards.
True boss.
In all regards.
Boss.
Bad John lyrics, you know, sexy lyrics, playful lyrics, you know, lying excuses is beyond a gem. And
True.
And whether he write the song or not, Sparrow's delivery inherently makes it his own. It's his song, you know. So true boss. I read something recently where Bob Marley said that Sparrow's Slave was one of his major influences.
Yes.
So just imagine that. Just imagine that.
A lot to think about in these tunes. Where's the next tune?
Rajin Jim Jum Chana na 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 nazara Chana na 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 nazara Chaturang ko gaye rasa Rang ko sunaunga main Chaturang ko gaye rasa Rang ko sunaunga main Rajinder Jim Jum Rajinder Jim Jum Chana na 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 nazar Chana na 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 nazar Chaturang ko gaye rasa Rang ko को सुनाऊंगा मैं राजिंदर झीम झीम झूम
Rajin, Juma, by Alish Samaru, and I was looking up the lyrics, and you know, it essentially is talking about the gods dancing to the rhythm, and you know, when he says chana na na na, that is the rhythm
right.
to which they are dancing, and you know, he talks about. Yeah, and there's another part in it where you know he does the scale. Yeah, I mean it's Real Heights lyrics.
You see, I had no idea what are they singing about, but once again, from first listening, from first impression, I think that happens to me a lot. There's certain songs from a first listening, it's something special about it.
Yeah.
The way he sings the song, his intonation, the ease of his delivery, his ease and deliberate at the same time. And I really enjoy listening to music sometimes where I have no idea what they're saying. I don't have a problem listening to foreign language music once the vibration is there. So now you say he's singing about the dancing gods, you know, and dancing to the rhythm. Okay, well, I'm happier that I have not that idea in my head, but that doesn't, you know, take away from all the joy that this song has brought me over the years of listening. And I chose it not because something happened to me the other day. I was sitting down watching morning TV, Amaral Morning TV Pyong, and they had all the contestants for the upcoming Chutney soca competition. And Chutney and I have an interesting relationship because I remember the first time seeing the Chutney soca competition on stage on TV in the middle of the carnival. It was a shock. It was so different.
Yeah.
It was coming from a whole other place, you know. It took me a while to get over myself and just open myself to it and listen to it and say, but this is folk music. It's folk,
absolutely,
pure and raw. You know? It's folk themes, folk issues. The structure is fascinating. The simplicity, the repetition, the 4-bar, and then you do a little jam and a chuck and you wind your waist and then they come back in and they hit them on another 4 bars. All those things, it took me a while to appreciate.
To be able to hear it.
And appreciate. Not just hear it, but I think there's something that happens to us. We live in a multi-ethnic, multicultural society. That vibration in Rajina, Jim Juma, is inside me. You know, I can't afford to get into some part of my head that wants to reject it, you know, or discount it or discredit it based on some silly notions that I better than this one or that one better than me or anything like that. What a blessing. So I sit now watching all these chutney offerings from, you know, from high to low to in between and just thinking, how beautiful, how blessed. Just like how I come to watch Mass over the years, where after Minchel and not playing Mass with Minchel and just playing Juve and Carnival Monday and Tuesdays for me to watch Mass. And one Carnival, I sit down and I say, even the most cocky-eye, bossy back, knock-knee Mass is a Mass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. That somebody invested and that somebody, you know,
get off
take
your high
time
horse.
to,
Get off your high horse. Look at that Mass in front of you there, you know? And I just felt so blessed as a Trinidadian to have this as part of my cultural vibration.
Yeah.
And not in no, in a real way. Just we went India. We went to 7 cities in India. And the opportunity to go to 7 cities in India taught me so much about why Tunapuna looked the way it looked, and Sawa and all the Eastern Main Road.
Kirap and
you
everywhere.
like it in a constant state of development and evolution, and the high with the low and the mid, we blessed, we real blessed. And you see that chutney vibration that led to, the Indian vibration that led to Shorty saying, like, we make a soca and a dabla and a dolak and a no snare and a tom and a disc bouncing up. And you see that thing that going on there, nothing can stand in the way of that. That is the law of entrainment. That's when you take 2 strong or more than 1 strong vibration and they have to pulse together because nature is more efficient. And one is not greater than the other, is a whole next thing. Because India taught us that too. The people who had the hardest time on the Indian tour was the chutney singer and the chutney dancer. They was like, what is that?
Yeah.
The Rapso went down, the Calypso went down, So that understanding is not, that's just as new to them as all this other stuff we were offering. This is now uniquely ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we need to use the music, use the culture to help us get over the divide, to help us get over the history, the stories we've been fed about each other, the sense of I better than you, and you better than me, and that feeling of, this one that, and that one that. Come on.
Yeah.
Let the dance gods to the rhythm. Let the gods dance to the rhythm. Let the gods dance to the rhythm. The rhythm of this land, the many rhythms of this land, the infinite rhythms of this land.
Yeah.
Rhythm is the thing, eh?
Rhythm is the thing.
Rhythm
will always be the thing.
Yeah, rhythm.
Yeah. Run the rhythm.
Run the rhythm, let the whole world know it's so good to be live, and walk in your power, walk in your beauty. These discoveries, to be able to sort of come up with little things like that.
Yeah.
And put that beat and put that rhythm, and then people come to you and say, boy, you see that?
Yeah.
I give thanks for that every day.
Yeah. Give thanks. And we give thanks to you.
Well, bless you.
For the work that you do, for the juve. I'm not going to cry.
Ah, yeah, boy.
No, but I can cry.
Yeah.
For the juve. Especially for the juve, Ashe.
Hold on.
Hold on. We're coming back. Emancipation morning. Let me do a juve now.
Reparation time.
Ashe.
Memoration time. Emancipation time. Now is Cambule time. Hold on. That's what we're saying. This round's reparation time. And it's not just the Queen had to pay me money, it have internal reparation need to take place.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to the Carnival. It have plenty of reparation need to take place. So that's the light we're shining right now.
Okay.
Yeah? So long live the Cambule.
Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe.